Hey there, thanks for watching. My name is Christiana and my channel is The Well-Behaved Wallet, where I talk about mindset, motivation, and making or saving money. In today's video, I'm going to give you a little bit of my history and my own mindset around money, and then share with you the exact affirmations I use every day to help me to embrace a wealth consciousness and to release a poverty mindset. And I will put the timestamp for the affirmations there, so if you don't want to hear my background, my story, whatever, you can just skip right to the affirmations. So to give you kind of my backstory, and I think this is important because it helps you understand where I'm coming from. I feel like I had actually a pretty healthy upbringing around money. And I know some people have different stories where they didn't have such a healthy mindset. And I feel like I'm kind of a little bit of not the norm because I, up until the age of 13, had a pretty healthy understanding of what you do with money. I was raised where you did chores because they needed to be done and you didn't expect any money for them. You just did them because mom and dad said they needed to be done and you do not question mom and dad. So that was kind of how our household ran. And then if we needed money, we could ask for it, or there would be additional opportunities throughout the week if we wanted to earn, my sister and I wanted to earn extra money, we could avail ourselves of those opportunities. I was always raised that you save, you spend, and you give in the other order. So you give, you save, and you spend. And I remember going to church with my little envelope full of, like the money every time we did a chore or every time we did an additional activity in the house that generated additional income. We would put a tenth of that in the offering, a tenth in savings, and then be able to spend the other 80%. So I remember going to church with that offering envelope and being able to put that in and being like kind of proud that I was able to contribute something to the offering plate. So that's my understanding of money. I don't remember my parents ever fighting about money. There were never any heated discussions that I saw. I've come to understand through my mom that there were some discussions about, or there was some tension, I guess, over how much she would get, because my dad was a breadwinner in our house when he was living with us. And he would give her an allowance from what came in, and she would kind of pay the household bills, and he would take care of anything else that was big overhead, like the house and the car, and she would take care of any housekeeping items. So that was my understanding until I was about 12, 13, and at that point my parents separated, my dad left, and my mom was left as a single mom to kind of make her way. She was a stay-at-home mom up until that point, and as is very common, she became the breadwinner. My dad would still contribute to the house, and he had been very faithful up for as long as I was, for my lifetime, to contribute his portion of our sort of maintenance, and that paid for our mortgage. Everything else was up to her. And it was hugely traumatic because not only was she dealing with this emotional betrayal and abandonment, but she also had to go to work. And it was really, really, really difficult. And so from the ages of about 13 till I graduated high school, I remember there being, and not even fights, but just a lot of tension and stress around money and around meeting basic needs like clothing and groceries and housing. Because my mom is very into natural foods and natural healing, and as you know, natural healthy foods aren't the most inexpensive. They tend to be a little bit more expensive, and so she'd want to buy us good quality groceries, but they were really scarce. And I remember one time I broke, she'd gotten this cranberry juice for my sister, like this all-natural cranberry juice. It was like $8 a jar, and I broke it. Like I was just, like I was clumsy and I tripped and I fell and I broke this jar, and it was like, that's $8 you broke, and it was like a huge big thing, and she was just so stressed about wanting to take care of her family and yet also wanting to provide good quality things and kind of having to deal with the reality of our financial situation. So that instance was actually, I remember that about money, but I also remember her saying like she exploded and she was really upset, and then she like came up to me after that and said, "I'm sorry, I don't want you to think that you're bad or you're a failure. I don't want you going through life thinking that you're bad." And I was like, "It's okay, I understand, I accept your apology." So that's something, I think at that time I was maybe 12. I was young. So that was kind of my reality after my parents separated. And that is the time when I really came into this sort of like fear and stress and worrying about money. And I'd say from that time up until I would say only about 4 or 5 years ago, have I started to really dig into my in the innate, inculcated, sort of like ingrained beliefs about money and start to sort of shift them around a little bit, because it's a huge trauma to have, this sort of family fracture, and I don't think I ever realized how much that affected my my ideas and my mindset around money. So that to say, I come from a long line of under-earning women. I guess under-earning in general. My grandmother was a stay-at-home mom and was always felt like she had too much to do and not enough money. And my mom, as well, had been kind of an under-earner has been an under-earner her whole life. And that is only starting to recently change for her, which is really encouraging. So I have that sort of tendency. And in order to embrace and move toward a life that includes more abundance and more prosperity, I find myself having to acknowledge those beliefs that I have that aren't necessarily spoken, and to replace them with positive beliefs about money and about my own ability to handle money. Because sometimes I don't even acknowledge that the reason why I don't have more, or that I'm not earning more, is because I don't feel like I can handle it, or I don't feel like I'm equipped enough, or I'm not worth enough. And I don't realize how pervasive those beliefs are in my day-to-day life. So that's sort of the backstory to this video, and why I'm creating this and sharing with you these affirmations, because these are what I am using daily to help myself shift my understanding about money and start thinking along the lines of, yes, I am enough. Yes, I am worth more money. I am a good steward of money. I am oriented toward increase and towards expanding my potential and the amount of resources I'm able to handle through learning and development and being a good steward of what I already have. My goal is to expand that and to grow that. But again, it's so important to acknowledge those limiting beliefs and to replace them with positive beliefs. And I even find that the more I am aware of those beliefs, the more I find more of them. It's like rooting out negative. It's like pulling up weeds. Literally, you have to get down to the root and to really yank them out and replace them with something better. Otherwise, they keep growing back. So it's really an ongoing cultivation of your mental landscape, if you will, your mental sort of garden, and making sure that it's filled with healthy, prosperous, growing flowers. You really have to do it daily. It's a daily practice and a daily exercise to tend to your mental garden. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you the affirmations that I use to help me be oriented towards wealth and increase and release the poverty mindset that has been so prevalent in me and in my family. So I will insert those affirmations now. Affirmations to embrace wealth and prosperity. Number 1, through a feeling of gratitude, I place myself in alignment with all the riches of God's universe. Number 2, I have complete confidence in God to express His abundance to me. Number 3, God is my source and the provider of everything I need. Number 4, God is pleased by the way I handle money, and as such, He gives me more. Number 5, the more I learn, the better I am with money. This knowledge turns any fear into faith. Number 6, money is flowing to me from known and unknown sources, and I easily and joyfully receive it and make it grow. Number 7, I now receive additional income simply by being more of who I already am. Number 8, I attract money wherever I go. Number 9, I use money for my good and the good of those around me. And number 10, I lift up my mind and my heart to know and to understand that the divine presence I am is the source and sustenance of all my good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these have been helpful, and I hope you keep watching. Bye.